Bonjour, mes amis. I wanted to teach you a lesson. Remember, we talked about last week the possibility that I would try to teach you. So,
Madame Potter, you're in my kitchen.
what?
Yeah.
I'm just about to teach my class.
Yeah, but you're in my kitchen. So, would you mind if? Can I? Yeah.
Who do you think you are? Nature Nancy?
Hello, grade 3s at Edmondson Heights. I've missed you. And today we're gonna make soil soup. So, before we make our soil soup, we're gonna make it in our big soup bowl today. You always like to have soup on a nice hot day. My first question to you and to this class I have here is, why is soil so important? Anybody want to answer? Anybody?
Oh.
Yes, Madame Potter.
For growing things.
Excellent. Anything else? Growing things.
Making mud?
Well, you can, but there's other things important about soil.
I might need your help, Nature Nancy.
Well, I actually think you got this, Madame Potter, but can you think of anything other than plants and trees that might be living in soil?
Oh my gosh. Well, when I dig in my garden, I find all kinds of stuff. Worms and grubs and beetles, and sometimes there's stuff so small I can barely see it.
Excellent. So it is a habitat for creatures to live, but it's also a place where really, really, really tiny things, like tiny things we can't see, are also at work. So when we make soil soup, just like in a good kitchen, you need to have all your ingredients. So one of the questions I'd like to ask is, what do you think one of those ingredients might be? Madame Potter?
Let's see. Soil. Well, I know that I have a composter, so my composter has stuff that I've been eating, my green stuff from my table, that somehow turns into soil. So I'm thinking vegetables.
Yeah.
And old dead plants.
Excellent.
Okay.
So something that used to be living and is now dead, so like dead plants, or even what else was living and could have died and be made into soil?
Well, mice,
Yeah.
worms.
Yeah, so dead animals as well. So that's called the organic matter. And today our first ingredients, if you can see right here, right in here are some wood chips. So that's an old tree that is no longer living, and some old needles. And so that's our first thing that's going in our soup. So this is dead plants, otherwise known as organic matter. And in here, you can see bones. So this will represent dead animals, also organic matter. So that goes in. All right, now we need a spoon. We'll stir it up. Is that it, Madame Potter? Is that all we need?
I don't think so, Nature Nancy.
No.
I mean, I think healthy soil takes a really long time, and underneath it is rock. So I'm guessing that some of that rock is in the soil?
Absolutely. So there's 3 parts, what we call mineral solids, and they are all made from rocks that react in different environmental conditions. So if you start out with a rock like this, maybe something like that, okay, possibly it could be made into one of 3 things. And in soil is made of the organic matter and mineral solids. So the mineral solids, the 3 things, and you'll recognize these things, is sand, silt, and clay. All 3 of those things are in the soil.
Right.
So here we're going to put our sand in. Ooh, 3D.
Okay, cool.
All right, we put our sand in. So a spoonful of sand. And here we've got silt, which is often found at the bottom of rivers.
Okay.
It's hard to find in.
So is it really fine sand, essentially?
Well, yeah, sand is the most grainy, so it has the biggest molecules. So the water goes through it really easily. silt is kind of in the middle.
Right.
It's a little bit finer than sand, not as gritty. And then the last one, there's the clay. You know what it's like. With clay, it feels nice and smooth, and all those little particles are really small,
Okay.
and it holds the water.
Okay.
So all three of them are really important, because if you just had clay, the water wouldn't drain.
Right.
And if you just had sand, then the water would go right through and the plants couldn't live.
Right.
Right? So it need to have a combination. So we're going to put all three in. There we go. It's looking good. All right. Next, there are a couple more things
Okay.
that are a big part, like a really big part of soil.
Maybe that stuff I had to fetch you from my faucet.
Yes, absolutely. So we don't think about it, but water is a quarter of all the soil. So if you look at a chart that shows you different parts, which we will, you'd see a quart of it would be water. Here we go.
That seems surprising, but then I remember that actually my body is some huge amount of water. It's something like
60,
yeah,
65, 70%
something
water.
like that.
Yeah, so organisms and things in nature often have a big component of water in it.
Right.
And then the last thing is in here. Does anybody have any idea what's in here?
Would that be the critters?
No. Have a look. Yeah, exactly. There's
It's-
nothing in there.
I still don't see it.
Yeah, I'm sorry. But you don't see it.
Okay. There's you need to add nothing?
Well, it looks like nothing, but really it's air. So can you blow into here?
Oh, okay, yeah.
Great. Okay. So air is another quarter of the amount of basically ingredients in the soil. So here I'm going to pour the air in. Oh, there's something else dirty in there, but there we go. Okay. So those are all the components of soil, but there's one thing missing, and that's the part where there's a certain something that you need to help create the soil and work within the soil and all
Right.
that. What do you think that is? You mentioned it before.
Yeah, no, I think I know what this one is because this is my favorite part. The creepy crawlies.
Oh yeah. So now these are pretty big. Lots of the creepy crawlies
Ooh.
in soil you can't even see,
Nice.
and they do a lot of work breaking things down and creating air spaces. Here we go.
Okay.
Putting them in. All right, here we go. Stirring the soil soup. Excellent. Let's see. You can tell me, does this look like soil?
Ooh.
Well, not really. But it's on its way. It has all the parts of soil.
Nice.
Oh, look at all those guys.
Yeah, they're cool.
Excellent. All right, I'm going to turn on my smartboard now.
Okay.
Okay. Just a second.
Okay.
Okay, pressed on.
Ooh.
Do we see that?
Beautiful technology. Yeah.
Thank you. I'm using the best that is being offered. Soil composition. So we can see that a quarter of this pie, or this is called soil pile instead of soil pie instead of soil soup.
Oh, wait, I get it because it's a pie chart.
That's right. So a quarter of this soil pie is air. A quarter is water. Well, almost a half is mineral solids, which include the sand and the silt and the clay. And then you can see a small sliver. I wouldn't want to eat that. I'd like more pie than that. But a small sliver of it is the dead plants and animals, otherwise known as the organic matter. But it is a very important part of soil, right? It's the living stuff that's decomposed. So I believe, unless you have any questions, Madame Potter, I believe that is our completion of this kitchen soil soup episode.
Wow, that was great. And I'm thinking about all kinds of other things. Like when I pot my plants, I add a little bit of rock and a little bit of sand so that the water will go through to the roots of my plants. I'm
Absolutely.
thinking about how I volunteer with this organization called Depave, and we lift up pavement, but then the soil underneath is dead because all the creatures are dead.
Yeah.
So then we have to do some work to get the soil back so that it is healthy.
Yeah. With that pavement, you don't have the water and the air
Right.
and the dead plants and animals
Right.
moving into the soil. So you need to add some life.
That was really cool, Nature Nancy. Thank you.
Well, grade threes, I hope all is well, and it's great to be with you today. Have a good one.
Bye, Nature Nancy.
Bye.